Hello, Albert here. Today I'm going to teach you how to do a no-hander, which should be one of the first freestyle tricks or tricks in general that you guys can learn. I'm going to teach it in a step-by-step process. If you guys want to train with me online, you can go to themotoacademy.com. You can train with me through the Moto Academy app, or you could also check out the 2022 Moto Academy Tour. I have classes all over the country, all over the world actually. You guys can train with me in person there. First things first, make sure you pick a jump that you're ultra comfortable on and that also has good leeway to be able to case it and to overshoot it by a little bit without it being an issue. Unbelievable, so many bugs. So the tabletop that I chose here, basically I could overshoot it by 20 feet, 30 feet probably, and be completely fine. I could land on top and not get that much of a bounce. The takeoff is also very safe and mellow enough to where it's not gonna send me to the moon, and also not a ski jump too much where I'm not catching any air at all. So be strategic with the jumps that you choose. Next step is start with a one-hander. And my tip for all of these limbs coming off would be to wait until you're at the height of the jump. I think the mistake I see is anxiety causes people to want to do it as soon as they take off. And at that point, you don't know how the bike's gonna shoot yet. You don't know if you're gonna clear the jump, case it, overshoot it. And you also, it will make you feel as though you're floating away from the bike more if you disconnect that early. So my advice is wait until you're at the peak of the jump. Same advice I would give somebody if you were trying to pull the clutch in and brake tap. You wait until you're at the height of your jump. You don't do it too early or too late. So what you'll notice is I wait till I'm at the peak of the jump, and then the first step is taking that hand off just a little bit. Always make sure you take off your clutch side first. On the electric bike, I don't have a clutch, but I'm still taking off clutch side first. You don't want to start with your throttle side because as a beginner taking your limbs off, you might return it and give it a bunch of throttle, or you might miss your throttle hand. You don't want to screw around with that right off the bat. Get comfortable taking just your left hand off to start. The first jump, you'll see me take it off just a little bit and make sure that I return it safely long before I land, so I have plenty of time to get the kind of back in order, right? Also, being on this electric bike, this thing nosedives like crazy when I let off the throttle. So I had to make sure that I give it a little bit of throttle or just anticipate on being a little nose high before I would take my arm off. So first one, wait to the height of the jump, just take that hand off a little bit. I think every single one of you will be surprised at how easy that is and how easy that feels. Then build from there. A little more extension, a little more extension, and a little more extension each time. Just building slowly to the point where you're almost blue in the face, like, okay, I could do this blindfolded, then progress to the next level. Just like any type of jumping, I think people get too overconfident too quickly, and then they skip a bunch of steps in the process, then you get hurt. Now we're right back to square one with the confidence. The next step is taking that other hand off to actually do the no-hander. What I'll say here is it is super important, it becomes super important to make sure that the footwork is correct. You want to be on the balls of your feet, pinching your toes all the way up against the frame and squeezing your knees as tight as you can to the shrouds. If we're not holding on with our lower body, you certainly don't want to be taking your upper body off of the bike. So make sure you're squeezing that bike super tight with your legs and that you have good technique with the lower body before you even think about attempting this. Make sure you wait till you get to the height of your jump, and then you see me do the same exact thing. I just take off both hands just that little bit. What I realized is as soon as I took off the throttle hand on the Alta, like I just said, it was getting a little bit of a nosedive. So the next jumps I just corrected for that. I made sure that my front end was a little higher than normal so that when I did take my hands off, it would kind of auto-correct to neutral. Now on gas bikes, you guys don't have to worry about that happening. So if you shoot neutral, you get to the top of your jump and you take your hands off, it will not nosedive away from you. The only thing you have to worry about is your legs coming loose. So make sure you're squeezing those toes tight, squeezing those knees tight together as well. And then just give yourself time. Wait at the height of your jump, take them off quickly, get them back on quickly. So that way you have plenty of time to kind of situate yourself before you land. And then you'll see I slowly progress to getting more and more extension as I get comfortable. Hopefully this video is helpful, and as always, guys, make sure that we're progressing at a level that isn't above your head. This isn't something that a lot of you should be trying. Make sure that we're very, very comfortable jumping the bike with all the limbs attached before we start thinking about doing any types of freestyle tricks. But hopefully that helps for those of you that are ready to start doing a little bit of freestyle out there. If you want, let me know. I actually have quite the freestyle trick repertoire up my sleeve, so if you want to see other tutorials on how to do tricks, comment below. Let me know what you want to see and what you want to learn. Maybe heel clickers, no-footed cans, knack-knacks, Supermans. I'm pretty good at Supermans. Maybe we can do a couple of these on the old YouTube if you guys like this video. Comment below, let me know. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and I appreciate you all that are subscribing. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. And all right, now I definitely have to go catch a flight, eat, take a shower, find some chapstick. I need face wash. Also, I need some coconut water and a bunch of other things because I'm high maintenance. Okay, well, toodaloo.